Where actually I left was so that is about potential market analysis. That means what potentiality of market need to be understood. The first thing is about knowing the potential customers, and in fact, knowing the potential customers is like you know that out of the total, there could be a large consumer base, large customer base, but what percentage of customers are definitely going to buy my product? That is a pretty important thing to understand because that is going to give you an actual market size, and out of which, the point number three is somehow caters to point number one. That means if you manage to understand, apart from knowing the customers, you also understand how exactly my consumers are going to behave. That is again pretty important part because consumer perception, knowing the consumer perception is very important. Because if you look into the entire concept, that if I talk about the products which are related to kids, probably the toys or probably food products, so in that case it is pretty important to understand the consumers and the customers. So I'll take a very complicated example. Probably I can talk about the baby food, right? So a baby cannot speak, and I don't know how the baby is going to like the taste of the particular product or not. And the parents are the one who's going to buy this particular product. Now it is pretty difficult to understand the consumer and customer at the same time. So a product sells if it actually falls in the category of both understanding. That means understanding the customers or consumer. So a company did what, in fact, this are like type of company, what kind of market analysis or what kind of consumer and customer understanding, what they've done is they have actually taken some mother's milk out, the breast milk out, and on the basis of the taste of that milk, they developed the Cerelac taste. And then the packaging, so they developed it for consumers. Look how complicated it is, and where exactly how innovative the people can think. So before even launching the Cerelac, they actually tested the taste of breast milk, and on the basis of that milk they developed Cerelac. The taste buds are supposed to be remain similar. That means kids eat, they enjoy. And then, so this is about understanding the consumer, and then they understood the customers, and they actually uh, delivered in good package, and they said that there is a lot of nutrition in the product, and it became the market leader at one point of time in the baby foods. So that means understanding. Perhaps I can talk about probably you are launching a product for the youngsters, or okay, that is one of the best examples could be Byju's and Extra Marks. So if you look into all the advertisement of Shah Rukh Khan, that advertisement is totally customer based, that's not consumer based. That means he try to convince the parents. Look at the statement at the end, that इनकी पढ़ाई को लेके हम कितना कुछ कहते हैं, let's give them something what they want. That is convincing the customer. But when this Baiju guy comes to your office, comes to your home for a personal meeting, then he also talks to the kid. That is actually understanding the consumer. So you need to understand who's the consumer, who's the customer of the product, and I need to analyze that how, who's going to pay for my product, and who's going to use my product, and I am going to know both of them pretty well before actually launching my particular product. So that is about understanding customer and consumer. Potential marketplace is very important. That means geographical area where this product is going to sell most. Certain products remain local, they do not remain global, and in India also you can see a lot. And there are a lot of things. That means media agencies you can think of. Yes, there are a lot of political things which is implemented in this aspect. But still, if you look into this thing, there is the newspapers. If you think, if you go in West Bengal, then other newspaper sells good. If you go into some other part of the country, other newspaper sells good. But if you come to northern India, then other newspapers are doing pretty well. So what I'm saying is, yes, means it's not the case that the newspaper who's doing good in North India, probably like NBT, they cannot publish a newspaper in Bengali language. They can do that, pretty much they can do that, but they don't do it, or probably they have tried and they failed. So what I'm saying is, so many products are locally popular. So you just need to understand where are the product potential marketplaces. And nowadays, I'm not talking about the particular country. I'm talking about the global market. Probably I can give you again a case study where jacket maker in Mumbai. That means he was manufacturing the leather jackets, and that too in a pretty slum kind of area. And this guy is not selling in India at all. He's selling through eBay in America itself. no market in India. He has identified the different leather jacket designs, and he started right straight away exporting his material to US, and he's doing substantial amount of business in US. That means a person sitting in Mumbai in slum area selling leather jackets by stitching them in United States, and not even a single jacket is sold in India. eBay picks up the entire material and ships to US and actually sells it. So he understood the potential marketplace. So, and what happens is when he's selling them into US, because India is a seasonal market in terms of leather jacket, but that's a certain part of US. So he identifies potential market like that. He identified the places where the leather jackets can be sold 365 days a year. So he identified those kind of places. So his business continuously keep on running rather than selling in India seasonally. He took a call and start selling them at the places where he can sell it for 365 days. So it's pretty important to understand knowing the potential marketplace, and what is the for how long, or for what is the duration for which I'm going to sell my particular product. Now I'll move a little quick because there are more things to discuss. The another thing is understanding the customer perception. That is exactly another thing. So understanding this comes under the point of knowing the customer itself. That means, so perception about product or service, that means how do they perceive this particular product, what is their opinion about that product and service. These two are different things. Perseverance and opinion are two different things. And understanding the traditional thought process. Perhaps I like the product, but the traditional thought process is like that I'm not going to buy it. So just three things which are pretty important in order to understand. And I think everybody knows about that. How do you perceive a particular product, and how you can formulate an opinion about a particular product. So this is one of the another thing. Then level of acceptance, important. First part, price determination. That means how much customers will be willing to pay depending on the amount of brand value which I carry right in the beginning. Depending on if I am a new startup, or probably I am an existing company launching a new product line, so I already have established name in the market. So what could be the possible price depending on the brand value of my existing company customer is willing to pay. How much value a customer demands, accepts for the particular price which they are paying. Acceptability of ecosystem determination, what kind of ecosystem where the acceptability of the product is going to rise more. So when I talk about ecosystem, I think okay, so how exactly I see that. So indirect marketings could be one of the best examples of it. If you know the acceptability of a particular product, there are certain ecosystem which you develop, and in that particular ecosystem you are able to sell the particular product more. The acceptability is higher. Right now, what kind of example is pitching in my mind is probably in the college fests you can see a lot of canopies selling the product for youth. So that is an ecosystem where youth is willing to spend money. They come there to spend money in those fairs, and they actually want to buy something new, something unique. So that's exactly how it works out, that understanding the where the ecosystem is there, the acceptability of the product is going to be more. And of course understanding the consumer satisfaction in post sale service, that how much what the satisfaction comes. And I pointed out one more thing is that understanding that from the same products how much satisfied the customer is, or his satisfaction lies from these kind of production. What do I mean by that is, if a customer is, if I'm launching, let's say there is a company which is launching a 100cc bike, then the customer satisfaction more lies in the average. This is a known fact. And if I'm launching a bike which is 500cc plus, the customer satisfaction lies more in the power, not in the average anymore, fuel efficiency anymore. So what happens is customer satisfaction is varied from product to product. Both products are bikes of different capacity. So if I'm a new into the market, I'm launching my new product, so I need to understand where the customer satisfaction is going to lie. So I just need to see it right in the beginning, that where for what exactly are the features of the product. I need to look into the market, and I need to look into the customer market where the satisfaction is going to fall in. Parameters of satisfaction identification, this is pretty important. That means I should be able to identify right in the beginning what are the different parameters. This thing right that directly caters to the product design. So if I understand the parameters of satisfaction for my particular product, then definitely it is going to help me in designing a better product which is more sellable. So this comes that particular way. Cost of customer satisfaction, of course this is pretty important to know how much I am willing to pay, and what is going to be the cost for this customer satisfaction. So these are the certain things pre-launch one should know. I have already talked about product improvement, that means By going into the market, I should understand what are the similar product are there, whether my product is product of future, that means how long it is going to sustain. So one of the best example is, like, say, let's say I bring up a particular product in the market now, and let's talk about the mobile phone. So probably I bring up a new mobile phone in the market right now, and probably after a couple of years, you know how fast the technology is changing, and I'm bringing a mobile phone, another tech product, in the market, and after a couple of years the market has seen a paradigm shift. My product doesn't sustain anymore. So what I need to see is that the product which I'm launching right now is going to have, it must be re-engineered, must be redesigned after how much amount of time. That's very important to understand, because product is supposed to be a product of future. At least 10 years it will take to only, you know, make the product sustainable, established in the market, or 5 years, or probably 4 years it will take to sustain. And meanwhile, you established something for the product in the market, and it requires a total change, then it becomes a very difficult situation, that how much change you can actually afford that particular point of time. Eliminating the reasons of not selling, that's one of the important part. And I am not saying identifying the reasons of selling, in fact identifying the elements of or the reasons because of which the product may not sell in the market at all, and eliminating those particular reasons right in the beginnings. So it's actually called as a negative elimination. That means rather than identifying what are the possibilities because of which I can sell the product in the market, you should be able to focus on the reasons for which I'll not be able to sell into the market. Perhaps my product is developed for rural India, and I want to sell it into a particular market where the supply chain is pretty bad. So this is the reason I have identified because of which it can impact my sales, and I'm to remove that particular thing, just probably by looking into the better supply chain, or perhaps shifting my geographical location to some other place. So this reason of not selling has to be identified right in the beginning. Now the question comes is, how should I do it? How should I go for whatever I have discussed, that these are the points that need to be covered in market analysis, and these are the points that need to be identified before moving into the market, before actually sending the product into the market. What exactly has to be done? This is pretty important to understand. Then in that case, I should actually be thinking that how to go ahead with this, whatever the points I have been discussing in from previous past 10 or 15 minutes. And I was talking about that these are the things about the market you should know. Now the next point is, how should I go with it? Now you can go with a primary database market research. You can go with secondary database market research. Of course, the research methodology is a very bigger subject, very in-depth subject, and it suits learned people, the research methodology subject. But here I'm going to talk about that how exactly even a layman, a pretty person, I'm sorry, I'm using the word layman, but I'm trying to say that anybody who has just started his business, then what are the fundamentals that are required to carry out a research which is not very technical. So you can definitely try one of the two things. Primary database research you can go for, and the secondary database research you can go for. You can outsource this particular research if you have a lot of funding with you, and at times you have to do it by yourself. So there are a lot of agencies which are already doing these kind of market surveys, so you can pose your questions and you can ask them to research for themselves, and that is one way to do it. But if the funding is not very strong, then in that case you have to do a lot of research by yourself. So how do you exactly do that particular research by yourself? I'm just going to focus on these particular ideas, that what are the fundamental requirements of carrying out a very basic level fundamental research of for the things which I have discussed in the previous slides. So you can go for a primary database research. It's the era of internet, the era of databases available online, and you can go for a secondary data research whenever you wish to. So certain things that you require is, or these are the fundamentals you must know in order to carry out this kind of market research. You must have a clean identification of sampling or census. You must know the sampling process. What are the different technicalities of sampling are there? You must know them well in advance. You must know the data collection techniques. You must know their do's and don'ts. In data collection techniques, it's very important, very important to understand the questionnaire design, because most of the surveys, most of the research fail because of poor questionnaire design. You just have to have basic idea of descriptive and inferential statistics, in which I'm talking about certain bars and charts and some basic hypothesis testing fundamentals. And also you must be a little bit well versed with the predictive analytics, which is the word not coming in the frame right now.